Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Arundhati Ramnan, and here are the headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. RBI Monetary Policy Committee springs a surprise by front-loading rate cuts to boost growth. Repo rate cut by 50 basis points, CRR cut by 100 basis points. RBI governor says no more room left for easing, and the stance changes from accommodative to neutral.
इन्फ्लेशन पे अब काफ़ी जो है नियंत्रण में है और वो जंग जो है हम ये मान सकते हैं कि उसके ऊपर में हमने जीत हासिल कर ली है.
Governor Malhotra says it is safe to assume that RBI has won the war against inflation. RBI also leaves FY26 growth forecast unchanged at 6.5%, says there is room for improvement. Gold financiers cheer as RBI set to ease gold loan rules, also proposes to do away with credit appraisal for small ticket loans up to 2.5 lakh rupees after a nudge from the government. An official notification is expected soon. RBI's growth bazooka lifts the Lal Street Sensex gains over 1%. Nifty reclaims 25,000. Bank and real estate stocks rally. US President Trump and billionaire Elon Musk trade insults as their relationship implodes in full public view. Tesla stock plunges after Trump threatens to cancel federal contracts and tax subsidies. Musk calls for Trump's impeachment and mocks his connections with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. US President Trump dials Chinese President Xi amidst a stalemate between two nations on trade talks. Chinese state media reports that Xi stressed on dialogue and cooperation as the only correct choice. Trump said that the call resulted in a very positive conclusion for both countries. Government allows Starlink to provide satellite internet services in India. The Elon Musk-led company is the third after Bharti's OneWeb and Reliance's Jio to secure a SATCOM license. The telecom department is yet to approve regulators' recommendations on allocating spectrum to SATCOM companies. Government considering a performance-linked incentive-style framework to boost local production of rare earth magnets to cushion impact of Chinese curbs. Talks, however, are only at an early stage. Russian missiles rained down on Ukraine's capital Kiev, killing 4 people. This comes after Russia's President Putin promised to retaliate after Ukraine destroyed dozens of Russian fighter jets. Israel bombs Lebanon's capital Beirut despite a ceasefire agreement with the Hezbollah. No food distribution in Gaza for the third straight day as the aid agency backed by US and Israel remains shut. United Nations warns children in Gaza are suffering from acute malnutrition. Bengaluru police arrest one RCB official and an event management executive after 11 people died in a stampede during the IPL victory celebrations. 2 more people also taken into custody after their alleged involvement. Those were the headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. But the top story today, the RBI Monetary Policy Committee has surprised the street with a bigger than expected repo rate cut of 50 basis points. The repo, which is the interest rate at which RBI lends to banks, now stands at 5.5% after 3 consecutive cuts. 5 out of 6 members voted for the 50 basis point cut. It's not just the repo rate. RBI has also decided to reduce the cash reserve ratio by 100 basis points in 4 equal tranches starting September. Cash reserve ratio is the percentage of a bank's total deposits that must be held as reserves. Governor Sanjay Malhotra said rate cuts have been front-loaded to give certainty to the markets. The policy stance has been changed from accommodative to neutral, and the governor made it clear that there is no room for any further easing.
There is now very limited space for the monetary policy, actually, given the current circumstances. And you are aware of the current circumstances, which is that growth is at about 6.5%. Inflation, we are projecting at 3.7% for this year. And next year, it's above 4, it's 4.5%, or roundabout. So given these current, if these were to play out, there is very limited space, is what MPC says, and that's why it has been reduced now. We have changed now to neutral.
And as Governor Malhotra was mentioning there, the RBI has left the FY26 GDP growth forecast unchanged at 6.5%, while adding that there is room for improvement. The FY26 inflation forecast has been cut to 3.7%, as against the earlier estimate of 4%. However, inflation is expected to inch towards 4.5% by the end of this financial year. Governor Malhotra said it is safe to assume that the RBI has won the war against inflation for now.
इन्फ्लेशन आपको मालूम है, मुद्रास्फीति इन्फ्लेशन पे अब काफ़ी जो है नियंत्रण में है, और वो जंग जो है हम ये मान सकते हैं कि उसके ऊपर में हमने जीत हासिल कर ली है. तो एक मैसेज है, क्योंकि हमने 4% से उसको घटा करके जो हमारा अनुमान था उसको 3.7% किया है मुद्रास्फीति को. उसी प्रकार से जो ग्रोथ है वो 6.5% है, अच्छी है, लेकिन उसमें और गुंजाइश है, उसके अंदर में और बढ़ोतरी होने का.
Lata Venkatesh joins us now with the editor's take. Lata?
What can we say about the governor's performance today? It was more like one of those swashbuckling T20 batsmen, Sai Sudarshan or Virat Kohli, just coming out and hooking sixer on sixer, a double rate cut and 100 basis point cash reserve ratio cut. This is, I can't remember when we last had such an easy policy. Cutting by 100 basis was probably after the Lehman crisis or something. So this is a very big gift for the markets and for the borrowers. But he immediately turns out to be a Rahul Dravid or someone, because he comes and says in the next sentence that I'm changing the stance from accommodative to neutral. What it basically means in plain English is that the chances of more rate cuts are not there. All he has done, he has advanced a possible August rate cut to June and given 2 cuts in June. But the only way to read this is that there are probably no more rate cuts. There are some people who are, focusing on possibility later on. But when we asked the governor, inflation is at 3.5%, he pointed out that next year it is 4.5%. So clearly, it didn't look like a governor who's, going to relent and give us any more rate cuts. So that's as far as the policy is concerned. Let's come to what happens to the banks. For the banks, a rate cut of 50 basis more than expected is actually negative. Why is it negative? Because many of the banks' loans are linked to the repo rate. So immediately, what they get from a home loan, what they get from a corporate loan will all fall. About 30% of the loans are linked to the repo rate, and so they're going to earn less in the coming quarter. And therefore, the margins will fall. Deposits take time to fall. But the CRR cut is very important. What is the CRR? If you have 100 rupees, you had to keep 4 rupees as cash. Now you have to keep only 3 rupees as cash. You can lend 1 more rupee and earn 7-8% on that. For the banks, if you take the stock of money, they can lend 2.5 trillion rupees more in the system at 7 or 8%. Until now, it is only earning 0. So that means by the time you come to the second half of the year, banks are going to find the cost of their funds low, and it is what you call a money multiplier. Every new deposit, they're going to keep less money aside for CRR, and they're able to lend more. So what it is going to mean is that banks have better and better times. They will see a steep fall in margins in the first quarter, and then a U-turn in the margins by the time the year ends. They exit the year very well. That is if you are a bank shareholder. If you are in an NBFC or real estate a company or a shareholder or an auto company, or you're going to buy a car, for all these people, things are really good. Loans are going to get cheaper and cheaper as the year progresses. It's already falling by 0.5%. It's going to fall even more as the amount of money available with banks, goes higher. So there's a lot of cheer. The only caution I would leave on the table is, has the governor come out of the crease a bit too much and whacked the ball? You're exposing all your stumps. If something goes wrong, he has just put all the cards on the table. I would just worry a bit about that, especially because the tariff war goes ugly or monsoons don't live up to the early promise. Then, inflation can play a nasty trick on us. Let's hope all those things don't happen.
Absolutely, Lata. Many thanks for taking us through all of those details. And Governor Malhotra also revealed that the Reserve Bank is looking at the rules governing ownership structure of banks. Governor said the FDI cap currently stands at 7.4%, and there is no plan to change that. However, he also added that the central bank is examining the ownership structure, while also adding that no immediate change to the regulations are likely.
हम ये पूरा जो ओनरशिप स्ट्रक्चर है, जो एलिजिबिलिटी कंडीशंस हैं, जिसके अंदर में FFI नॉन रेजिडेंट्स के लिए आज के दिन में 15% है, उस सबको हमको पूरे को एग्जामिन हम कर रहे हैं. वो इमीडिएटली नहीं होगा, उसमें समय लगेगा. ये जो है बहुत डीपर क्वेश्चंस हैं जिनको क्रिकेट की एनालॉजी में जो है 2020 मैच की तरह से नहीं देखना चाहिए. तो वो हम उसको पूरा सोच समझ करके ही क्या हमारे अर्थव्यवस्था के लिए क्या उचित है उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए.
And shares of IndusInd Bank rose in trade. This after RBI Governor Malhotra said that bank has taken enough steps to improve their accounting practices. He said that the bank's managing director and CEO have taken a moral responsibility and resigned, and that should be good enough. This comes after IndusInd Bank declared a 2,000 crore rupee loss, citing derivatives accounting lapses in March this year.
I think the bank has taken enough number of steps to put their to improve their accounting and other practices. The MD CEO, has resigned, and it says, for taking, moral responsibilities. So I thought, that should be good enough. Do you expect that all the board members? I mean, what are you hinting at? I think the MD CEO, who's also a member of the board, if he has taken responsibility, that is at the board level itself.
In the money market, the Indian rupee gained 16 paise against the dollar after the monetary policy. The rupee remains just below the 86 mark against the greenback. 10-year bond prices gained today and the yield softened to 6.24%. On to the day's market action. The Reserve Bank's 50 basis points repo rate cut brought cheer to the market. Frontline indices rose over 1%, with financials witnessing the biggest move. Today's gains helped the market turn positive for the week. Sensex and Nifty recorded weekly gains after giving negative returns for 2 consecutive weeks. Broader markets outperformed the mid-cap index, rising 3% this week. On that note, it is time for us to head into a short break. But coming up next, US President Trump and billionaire Elon Musk trade insults as their relationship implodes in full public view. More details on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still with us on Business 360. US President Donald Trump announced that he held a 90-minute call with Chinese President Xi amid trade tensions between the two countries. Trump said that the call was positive and primarily focused on trade. Both the leaders extended invitations to visit each other's nations. This is the first time both the leaders spoke to each other since Trump launched a trade war on China in February. US President Trump's alliance with billionaire Elon Musk has imploded in full public view. Both have traded insults on their respective social media platforms, Truth Social and X, since last night. Tensions escalated after the US leader expressed disappointment with the Tesla CEO after his relentless criticism of the president's Big Beautiful bill on social media last week. Speaking to reporters during a conference with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, Trump said Musk knew the inner workings of the bill. In a post on Truth Social, Trump accused Musk of going crazy after the EV mandate was removed from the bill. Tesla lost $150 billion in market capitalization after President Trump threatened to pull government contracts for Elon Musk's companies. This is the biggest hit to its market cap ever and puts it below the $1 trillion benchmark. Meanwhile, Musk continued his online onslaught, claiming that the president would have lost the elections without him and even called for his impeachment. Dia Epan joins us now with more details. Dia, take us through the sequence of events.
Donald Trump kicked things off during an Oval Office meeting with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. Asked about Elon Musk's criticism of his Big Beautiful bill, the US president told reporters, "Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we will anymore."
Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if it will anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best things. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. We call it a great, big, beautiful bill because that's what it is.
President Trump also told reporters he was very disappointed in Elon, telling them he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody, and he never had a problem until right after he left. He said the most beautiful things about me, and he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate because that's billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything.
Musk responded by live tweeting a flurry of posts on his X social media platform as Trump spoke on live television, saying that Trump would not have won the 2024 election without him and slammed him for ingratitude. He said, and I quote, "The bill was never shown to me even once and was passed in the dead of night so fast that almost no one in Congress would even read it." The president followed up by threatening to terminate Musk's government subsidies and contracts. Musk then went on to suggest Trump should be impeached and that J.D. Vance should replace Trump. He also warned that Trump's global tariffs would cause a recession in the second half of this year and claimed Trump was in the Jeffrey Epstein files. Meanwhile, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance on Friday said he was proud to stand beside President Donald Trump. Posting on social media platform X, Vance wrote, "President Trump has done more than any person in my lifetime to earn the trust of the moment he leads. I'm proud to stand beside him." In a turn of events, Musk has reversed course and signaled there could be a cooling-off period between the two.
So they are there with the latest on what happened between Musk and Trump. But moving on, the telecom department has issued a license to Elon Musk-backed Starlink for satellite operations in India. Starlink is the third operator after OneWeb and Jio to secure a SATCOM license. Ashmit Kumar joins us now with the details. Ashmit, what are you picking up?
Well, a big break for Elon Musk's Starlink here in India. Bear in mind that it was just a month back that the letter of intent had been issued, and since then things moving at an express pace. In less than 4 weeks after the issuance of the LOI, now we understand that the DOT has issued a license to Elon Musk-backed Starlink. Now this, of course, comes on the back of compliance with a whole host of security protocols. There were very granular details that had been added as a part of these security protocols that Starlink had to comply with, and we understand that those have been met, and therefore the license has been issued. As far as the rollout of operations now is concerned, a number of key steps, however, still remain in the pipeline, which do need to be completed. Number one, trial spectrum will have to be issued over the next couple of weeks to Starlink so that they can test their systems in place. Number two, after issuance of license from the DOT, they will require authorization from InSpace. So that is something that will be next on the cards. Subsequent to that, one key factor in all of this, as far as the rollout is concerned, one key factor will be, of course, spectrum. Now, the TRAI has done its bit, has given its recommendation. Now, it's on the plate as far as DOT is concerned. DOT will now have to decide whether it can go ahead with the recommendations that the TRAI has given. Amongst the key recommendations, well, the TRAI has backed, number one, administrative allocation of spectrum, and number two, has recommended a 4% spectrum user charge for spectrum in use. No cost of acquisition as far as spectrum for SATCOM players is concerned. And finally, there will, of course, have to be ground infrastructure. This is the last and the final step. Earth stations will be critical as far as operation of these satellite communication services are concerned. So that's something, these steps are something that Elon Musk-backed Starlink will now have to look ahead at after the issuance of the license from the DOT. Back to you.
All right, Ashmit, many thanks for those details. And with that, it is a wrap on this edition of Business 360. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.